Somewhere in the deep burning south, where oil pumps, cattle grazes, and the horizon is less a promise and instead a sentence from God, there is a windowless building. It hums, like all things American, with the moral clarity of empire. Inside it, in conditions of refrigerated indifference, a great library sits. Not the Library of Alexandria, which at least burned with dignity, but something aberrant, deeper. This is a library no individual decided to build. It accreted the way that coral reef accretes, the way that grief accretes in the heart as the years pass and pass. And in this library, among the tax records, the sublime cat videos, and abandoned blogs that litter the internet like stars, there are, of course, stories. They were written by ordinary people in the hours after the world ended, and they are, nearly without exception, terrible. I cannot help but to find them beautiful. In English, we do not have proper words to aestheticize the grotesque. In French, they might say, joli laid, in Japan, wabi-sabi. Not knowing how to speak of the thing I admire is my failing as a man, but also perhaps my qualification as a narrator.
The most famous quote in all of linguistics comes from the French philosopher Jacques Derrida, who said, "There is nothing outside the text." Widely misunderstood even today, the concept is not a repudiation of external reality, but challenges the idea that language or science can perfectly and objectively reflect such a place. We are taught that art rises from suffering as smoke rises from fire. We are not told, however, that it rises as the burning scent from a kitchen where a sad man who now lives alone weeping has left the stove on. Tonight we will read what humanity wrote when it was most afraid. We will not laugh at it, or perhaps we will, but it will be the laughter of someone at a funeral who suddenly understands that the corpse in front of them is lying in a box built to their own measurements. Welcome to Kill the Computer, a show about the internet.
Welcome back to Kill the Computer. My name is Caleb. As every week, I am joined by my co-host, June. How are you?
Wonderful. It's been
freshly back from the UFC Freedom 250.
I was one of the bike drivers in front of that bullshit. There was it was just like a fucking tarp that they put in front of the White House to like make it look like the fake White House. Do you know what I'm talking about? Did you see that?
Yeah.
I was one of the bike riders. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But no,
did you see? By the way, you've been busy, June. You've got.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw it, Aysha, but Daniel Cormier, he's a former fighter, now commentator for UFC, posted and then deleted this thing that was like, I can't stay silent on this. Like, they're trying to ruin the sport. And it was a DMs from Eric Trump being like, hey, man, are any of the fights fixed? Do you have any insider knowledge? Yeah! And then DC immediately deletes it. And there's this Eric Trump posts like crazy saying that first he says it's fake and blah, blah. But then they realize they can't because like so many people have the screenshots and there's like proof of the URL that they knew that he actually did post and delete it. They're trying to say it didn't happen and now trying to say it's fake. And it's like,
my God.
This whole conundrum. And the Grok is this real guys are having a field day because it is real for once, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, man.
That's so. I mean, we obviously know this administration has been like the most openly corrupt of all time. I think it's like so incredibly on the nose that one of Trump's fail sons is trying to like do big, massive, like insider trading on Twitter DMs. Like, how much more perfect could this all be? The Twitter administration, the poster administration, and this is how they do insider trading. They don't even have like anonymous Twitter group chats. It's just like, hey bud, can I cheat?
Did you
hey homie?
Did you also see that they're paying the fighters bonuses in the Trump coin?
My
Oh man, imagine showing up to the White House UFC and you just get a shit coin. That is so incredible. Did you guys see
so awesome.
Trump?
It's worth like 10 cents.
Did you guys see Trump
well, this
falling
one's a stable
asleep?
coin, so it's tied to the dollar, but yeah.
Did you guys see Trump falling asleep at the Knicks game?
Yes, dude.
Yeah, I do. You know, I'm not a big basketball fan, but I'm happy the Knicks won. I'm really particularly happy that the one game the Knicks lost was the one he was at. That's so awesome. It was to torment him and all of, Howard Lutnick, all these fucking freaks that were there.
It just goes to show that if you invite a quirked up brown boy into your city and embrace the light of Islam, then you too can win the NBA championship.
Dude, Bucks and the Milwaukee Bucks, you know what to do.
I'm just going to say, like, I am happy for New York, but also it's like that SpongeBob meme where Squidward is looking at them playing outside all pissed off. That's how I feel about New York. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, within a year, not even a year yet, the Knicks, like, are already back. Crime is down. Things like everything is great in New York. I'm like, well, fuck. Like, we need some of that out here, you know?
Yeah, I mean, my city is DC, and DC will never get better, so...
Yeah.
We need to just establish the caliphate in like, I don't know, Caleb, where do you live, Tacoma? We can establish the caliphate there, and everything will...
Caliphate. Yeah.
We'll make everything way better.
Fit? Is this anything?
There we go.
Caleb fate.
Yeah.
You'll be the leader, yeah. It's time to convert. Time to convert.
We have a special guest with us for this journey. Aysha Farah from the Workers Lit podcast, writer and podcaster, talking about this is the episode we've teased it on a couple times now, guys. The fan fiction episode,
9/11.
You know, it's funny. Aysha, I don't remember what it was. We were going to have you on for something else, and we were talking. You're like, no, I want to do the fanfic one. I'm like the fanfic correspondent for Workers Lit.
I think we were just literally going to talk about how cooked games is. I think we were talking about that.
That's right. We're gonna do some game stuff. Yeah.
But let's be honest.
I'm glad that you're here for this one. And by the way,
9/11 fan fiction, that's up all of our alleys. That's great. This is going to be a hopeful episode.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Real quick though, Workers Lit. I know, June, you were planning on. Have you gone on yet? I know I've been on there.
I was talking to, I don't actually know who runs the Blue Sky account, but I was talking about going on to talk
Jacob,
about,
I think.
Jacob.
Yeah, some stuff. I think I'm going to do an episode with you guys at some point about the related to natalism. I haven't chosen what angle to exactly look at yet, but we'll figure it out. I'll be on there soon.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
We're kind of a weird show because we have 2 episodes a week. One is news, one is books. And we kind of like loosely tie those things together by saying that we have a show about the narrative. And
really
I'm on the book side. I don't do the news side, but Caleb, I think you came on the news side.
Yeah, we were kind of passing ships in the night. A couple times now we've been struggling to link up. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I've been a fan since before the rebrand, so...
Oh my God.
Old head. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Actually,
it's good to have you on.
June, one story I can tell you. I joined the Discord, and my cat...
I'm so sorry. Did they hurt you?
My cat stepped on, just did the thing where they just mash all over your keyboard. And, oh wait, no, I hadn't joined the Discord. What happened is I joined the Patreon, and then my cat stepped all over the keyboard. And when she was done, she had me join the Discord and then downloaded a picture that you posted of yourself.
What?
You posted a selfie, and my cat was a fucking pervert. And
that's so funny.
I was I hope they can't see people do
your
that.
Your cat is gang stalking me. This is horrifying. I need to keep an eye out.
My cat is a
What's
lesbian.
your cat's name?
Penny.
I'm looking around every corner. I'm walking outside. I'm looking around.
Yeah,
I gotta be careful.
Penny's watching.
Yeah, she's everywhere.
How would you describe the book side of Workers Lit? Let's get that plug in before we get going here.
It's like half us sort of. It's half us reading terrible books by politicians and evangelicals, and half us reading horny gay books from 2006.
Okay. Perfect.
That's a good sell, honestly.
Yeah.
That is a really good sell.
Yeah, we're doing next week we're doing a novella published by Neon Hemlock, which is an independent queer publisher. So we're it's Pride Month, let's do something. We're doing a book called The Mystery of the Bitten Peach, which I think is about lesbians in ancient China. So
oh, wait, that's fucking cool.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome, dude. Well, we will also be talking about some horny literature from the Bush years today. Because this is, yeah. So I do have to give some caveats right at the top of the episode. I'm not, you all think that you want to hear me read the erotica of the submersible getting fucked or whatever, all those things. You think you want that. That's not the episode you're going to get, and you don't want it. I just have to say I've read, like I've said before, just so much of this stuff that I was kind of going through this. I developed I think that unless you're involved in this community, or if you've read much of it or whatever, you have maybe some not so positive connotations of like what it is and who's in it and what they're doing, which was my case. And then as I kind of started to continue to consume this, I was like, wait, this is like not necessarily what I thought it was. And it's like, there is still plenty of, don't get me wrong, like insane, horny, like whatever, erotica, Rule 34 stuff. But I started to sort of realize that this is, fan fiction is like a very specific sort of like vector for processing grief and trauma. The one that we talked about a month ago that kicked this whole thing off was the one that I found of like Trunks going back and experiencing 9/11 or something. and it kind of dawned on me that like Trunks is this, if you don't know Dragon Ball Z, Trunks is one of the most powerful characters, maybe the most. It's debated among people. He has the power to kill God and travel through time, but he does not, in this fan fiction, stop 9/11 from happening. He experiences it, the God Killer Trunks, along with us, the viewer, right?
That's so
Why
deep.
is that? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like it's to process these things that happen to us, and it's like this kind of sort of familiarity or whatever. And I don't know, as I continued to read some of this, because the whole thing for this is we're going to try and go through specifically not necessarily just 9/11. I kind of settled on 9/11, and then we'll do a little bit of COVID, some just to juxtapose a few things for like then versus now. But I did read a lot of like active war, like Ukraine, Russia stuff, and it's like all kinds of stuff. There's like anything that you could think of. As long as the internet's been around, people are writing fan fiction to kind of express themselves through it. And then I started kind of reading the meta around fan fiction, and I've learned that actually it's got its own it's kind of its own cottage industry. They have beat writers that specifically cover fan fiction, and I started reading about that and what the history of it is. And I have to say, I found the whole process to be endearing and kind of changed my perspective. So we will laugh, but just understand that these communities, plural, are actually far more nuanced and I think beautiful than I had initially gone into this wondering. So I guess we'll start this off.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna let my cat out because he's very sad. Okay, it was not your stalker, June. It was a different cat.
Oh, thank fucking God.
Yeah,
one cat loves you, one cat hates you.
Yeah. What's
your guys' experience with this? Aysha, I think that this is probably one of the things that was a joke with some truth to it, but you describe yourself as like the Workers Lit fanfic correspondent.
Yeah, so I mean, I haven't read or produced much 9/11 fan fiction, but I started reading fan fiction when I was probably like 13 or 14. I like discovered it online, and it was kind of how I discovered that gay people existed. And I mean, like I had, seen them, I'd seen like Will and Grace and stuff like that. But like, I was like, raised pretty Catholic. And suddenly I was like, oh, it's just like, I don't know. I jokingly say that fan fiction is porn for women. But it's pornography for people who need a convoluted narrative to really get off. So like you mentioned that like not all of it is porn. A lot of it is, and I would argue that's fine. Like because but like when you say that like it's a lot of it is processing, and I think that that's a really good way to put it, because like a lot of the fan fiction that I have written in my life has been it's kind of how, like, how like when you read or watch or play something that you really like, and then you want to go and like check for like all of the interviews with like the writer or the you know, when you get really into the meta around it, well, the way that I've always responded to being very moved by something is that I find like one thing and I want to like process it and pick it apart, and I write fan fiction about it. And that's kind of how I engage with media. And I guess that's like I'm a writer, so that's how I like, somebody will draw art or something. But yeah, that's kind of just, and I started my writing career through fan fiction, basically.
Yeah. What about you, June? What's your experience?
So I don't have a lot of experience really, of course, writing. I'm not much of like a long form writer myself, or reading fan fiction, but especially earlier in my life, I have been very close to and know several people very active in like these fan fiction communities as writers, as readers. So I know a lot about like sort of like the structure of these smaller communities, because something I've noticed, like there's really big fan fiction communities like under Umbrella. Probably like One Piece is, if I had to guess, a huge like fandom community, fucking massive. But the ones I am like more aware of personally in terms of like through people I know is like Pokemon, like different ships for different characters in Pokemon, like the TV show and the games. And I've read, you know, some of the stuff that people I know have written for this. But I think what's something I've always been like an outsider looking in a way. I've never deeply engaged in fandom community in that way with fan fiction. But it is interesting, especially when you get down to these smaller segments of fan fiction, especially if it's like shipping community, like fan fiction. It's interesting how granular it is and how these communities sort of like, they're very open-minded and they're very open to becoming friends with people within these hyper-specific communities. I know someone that met some people she still knows today through like fan fiction communities, just like writing on AO3 and shit like that. Like, you know, they are very tight-knit communities and they're not hard to break into if you want to participate. And I think that's cool.
I will say fully that my best friend I met through fan fiction.
So many cases. There's so many stories like that. Yeah.
Like somebody who was reading something I wrote like over 10 years ago and just started talking to me on tumblr.com. And we realized we lived in the same town.
Oh, shit. Small world. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I guess, you know, I've given you guys a pretty big chunk of it. But I guess what I would say is like, you know, my preconceived notions of this were like, it was kind of the, you know, sweaty white neckbeard kind of otaku sort of dork that like was into this and writing like nasty stuff, and not true. You know, as this episode has evolved, it's like, wait a minute, this stuff is very much for it's with people with less social station, predominantly people with disabilities, people who are neurodivergent, trans people, queer people,
also
people
the
of
hottest
color.
Women you've ever seen in your life.
Yo, like I'm learning that too. Like when I'm watching some of these like explainers for things, it's like, wait a second, you know what I mean? I thought these were guys like, I thought I was like going to be reading content from my peers. Not the case in any sort of way.
Very women dominant.
Yeah,
for sure.
So you didn't realize that. So Caleb, you're sort of like newish as an understanding of what fan fiction communities are. Like, so you've never really broken in. Like, you've never read. You're not a fan fiction reader.
Well, I sure have now. I can tell you that. I've read a lot. Yeah, but up until maybe the last couple months, not really. And I started reading, you know, like I said, they have actual beat writers like Teen Vogue has, I don't know their pronouns, but Stitch. I don't know if you know, Aysha, who Stitch is, who does a whole, well, used to. I think that they may have since discontinued that because it's a nightmare out there for that industry.
Yeah.
But just a newsletter and everything about fan fiction, and I've learned a lot about how it's like anti-colonial. And keep that in mind for there's an article we're going to be reading that's actually in Vice from friend of the show Gita from back in the day that's going to talk about that a little bit more. Yeah, total homie.
I haven't met them, but I know people in the sort of industry, so I like their writing a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there has like a genuine colonial, like it's almost like intrinsically like that. And then I guess like the only in my my slide here on slide 4, my last little just straight thought observation here is that fan fiction is spiritually new metal. And what I mean by that is, hear me out, don't kill me.
Okay.
Because like you think of new metal and you have this preconceived notion it's a bunch of, again, dumb meathead guys like me playing just awful music. Well, that's not the case, right? What actually happens is you've got the ivory tower dorks at Pitchfork and Rolling Stone that are almost predominantly white men shit talking new metal and circle jerking, no offense to Dan because he was just on recently, the Arcade Fire or whatever, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, there's that vacuum, and guess who fills it? It's people of color. It's queer people, and that's really like kind of what the spirit of new is. It was my last podcast probably a decade ago now. It's like, wait a second, like new metal is extremely like not white and queer now, you know,
right.
The people that are like still doing it.
Yeah.
And I think I just see a lot of through line of like this like misconception of what people think it is versus what it actually is.
For a long time, if you wanted to read something about a queer character, fan fiction was kind of the only place that you could go. Unless you were very hooked into some like very niche subcultures, or like you had a video store that could rent you like foreign films or something, that could like rent you like Itu Mama Tambien or something like that. But like when I was like 14, and I think I'm like in my late 30s, like there was like nothing. So
I mean, even still to this day, like in American like stories and cartoons and shows, there is not a lot of queer representation even to this day. I mean, it's still sort of punished. What was that Cartoon Network show a couple of years ago that got canceled early because there was like a kiss between, I think, two? Was it Owl House? Is that what I'm thinking of?
I think it was Owl House. Yeah.
And it's like it is still really difficult to have like queer representation in media.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about 9/11.
my other expertise. No, I'm kidding. I'm Muslim. Does that make you a 9/11 expert?
Okay. Do we want to do the furry art stuff that you sent me, Aysha, first, or do we want to read the article?
Let furry art stuff first.
Okay, so if you're following along at home with the slideshow, the link to it is in slide 7.
I didn't see this link. Oh my
Yeah,
god!
I told my wife that I was doing this episode with y'all, and she immediately sent me this.
So awesome.
Nothing makes me smile more than seeing a deviant art link in 2026. Oh my!
Well, it gets even deeper in the weeds than DeviantArt Trust. So, Aysha, when we were talking about doing this episode, whatever, forever ago, you'd sent me that link, and I was just howling laughing. So, what it is like I curated was the Metaphor stuff that was released like the day or day after September. It was on September 11th. The things that people drew, and it's interesting. And there's a couple things stick out to me. First of all, the only ostensibly non-American, the caption along with it's like a sort of like Sonic-ish looking fox person looking at the Twin Towers burning, and I believe what is supposed to be faces in the smoke. And the caption that goes along with it is, "Please don't start a war, USA. Please, please." And
Oh my god!
that was interesting to me because every other one was like still somewhat of this. Not all of them were like, you know, hoorah, love it or leave it, let's kick ass. That came later, but there were a couple of them that were like that. And it's like, oh yeah, of course the non-American is like, yeah. For sure. They knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, then you have like a lion holding a lion with like a hand, a fully articulated, not a lion, an eagle with a fully articulated hand. I was looking at a lion picture, holding a sword, and it says, "Like the phoenix rising from the ashes, we will rise from this stronger and more defiant."
Yeah. I don't understand what's going on with this mixture of wing and hand and arm.
That's a pretty common thing in furries. Like they have like actual, like, you know, you've seen the Disney Robin Hood with the foxes with like the fox fingers. Like that, like Robin Hood was a very like kind of created a lot of furry meta.
So you're so spot on. That's in slide 9. It's almost like a 1-for-1 of like the Robin Hood fox. And God is blessed for all the innocent souls who pass beyond this day. May the loved ones you leave behind be comforted to the days and years to come. If you look at that, this is the thing is I'm old. Furries to me were like my first exposure to them anyway was more along this. Like what I would say is what's interesting is the diversification of the different art styles. Like you've got this, you've got the eagle with the hand in slide 11. It's just its own thing entirely. It's like a lion angel thing. I don't know. But in any case, these are all very different styles of art.
Yeah.
And I think, Aysha, we had talked about, well, I don't know how much I remember talking about, or it may have got me thinking of like what it was. It was like Sonic Adventure 2 had really just kind of made furry art look the way that it does now.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good approximation. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't need to watch the video. I will splice in the audio. There's a creator who has a series on this, Frankie Faye, and I'll splice this up. So her whole thing is she's like an internet art historian. A very awesome title, does good stuff. And she has basically drawn the through line that is what kind of consolidated furry art. And by the way, I'm not a furry, so furries, if you're listening and am I wrong, beat my ass in the comments, please. But to me, that seems like, and it came out like weeks before 9/11, Sonic Adventure 2, and there's like Shadow, and then there was like Rogue the Bat that has that kind of like that style that furries kind of latched onto.
It feels like Sonic was sort of the ground zero, to use another phrase about 9/11, 9/11. But that it sort of was like a big inspiration for a lot of early furries, like at least especially in like the DeviantArt art days. I mean, everyone knows about the thing where you search your name, the hedgehog, and there's probably a character hedgehog with your name.
Though the fandom didn't start this way, I believe it really hit the fan in 1998 with the release of the video game Sonic Adventure. This game was incredibly ambitious and edgy and full of 90s ratitude, and featured a taller, sleeker, more anthropomorphic Sonic than in games past. Then, in 1999, the Sonic Underground cartoon comes out and proves one incredibly important thing. Sonic is not actually that hard to draw. You don't even have to draw him that well in his own show. Keep that in mind. But the final nail in the coffin was in 2001 with the release of Sonic Adventure 2. This game was cooler and edgier, and they used the word damn, and crucially, it featured a brand new character called Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow hit furries, autistic people, and young artists like crack. By the mid-2000s, DeviantArt, then the premier destination for art on the internet, was absolutely overrun with poor quality Sonic fan art. A lot was made by children, but a lot more was made by adults, and this is where the obsessive thing really rears its ugly head. Through an overlap of furry art, fetishism, and DeviantArt's famous lack of quality control, a much darker phenomenon emerged. Sonic feet, and Sonic weight gain, and Sonic inflation. So much fetish art in the 2000s took on a uniquely Sonic twist that people got absolutely sick of it and reacted by making their own stuff ironically. The only problem is that the ironically bad Sonic art is indistinguishable from the real thing. So all it did was just increase the total number of absolutely bizarre Sonic fan art in existence.
Yeah. Yeah. Sonic really, like, I was looking for a Sonic 9/11 picture that I remembered. And it's like the Twin Towers, I couldn't find it, so I have to describe it. It was like the Twin Towers were burning, and it was like Sonic and Tails, like, salute, like, with their hands over their heart, just watching the towers burn. And it just said, and I think in the sky, it just says, like in, like, smoke, it says, like, sad day or something like that. It's just really like has stuck with me.
I just found, I searched Sonic 9/11 the Hedgehog, and I'm going to send you guys in the chat here an awesome photo I just found on Facebook.
Facebook, damn.
I know, it's a new photo. It was a memorial post from 2025.
Yeah, never forget.
Wow.
And it's
beautiful.
Sonic and Shadow looking at the towers being hit, standing side by side.
It's like pixel
so
art too. This rules, actually.
Yeah, no, this one's great. This is phenomenal. I'm just enthralled by, I've been very quiet the last little bit. I've been just genuinely looking at this art on slide 10 in particular. I am just transfixed by it. The like guy clearly, like I think it's in the streets of New York after the towers got hit. I have to imagine,
like tearing his clothes off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like, and he's holding the American flag, and there's like people on the ground, there's smoke in the air, and he's like in a side alleyway somewhere with the text. I don't know if you read this earlier, but the sorry, I didn't have much time to It's just talking about, my heart and sympathy goes out to the victims and survivors of the tragedy that took place on September 11th, 2001. And just like the representation, drawing a scene of like destruction and like in the streets and like people dead and like, this in this way with furry art is just, there is something hypnotic about it to me. I don't really know why, but it is such
especially in this style of furry art too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's an interesting way to like lay out like any tragedy, like just thinking about like just broadening out a little bit, like any tragedy, like drawing some art dedicated to a tragedy but with furries is such an interesting way to like express grief, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really is just like you see the world through the lens of like the places that you spend your time and like the so I guess like to a furry it makes perfect sense to draw. Because it's like, you're on the furry forums and it's 9/11. Like, what are you going to do? You can't do your usual shit, right?
Yeah.
You got to do 9/11 shit.
You do. Yeah.
I mean, when 9/11 happened, I was a teenager, 13 or I don't know how old I was, but young. And I did what I always did, just 9/11 theme. And I wrote a really, really, really bad punk song that was 9/11 theme. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. It's just this person, their exposure to art and creative output was furry art, and that's what they did. It's just interesting.
I got sent to the guidance counselor because I was not sad enough.
They were doing thought policing about 9/11.
I think
my God.
Yeah, it may have also been racial profiling, but
yeah, I was gonna say I'm so glad you said it. I thought like there was what's her deal? Is she in on this? Like, because there was a lot of that. So my best friend at that time was a Muslim kid named Muhammad, and the shit that he went through was just atrocious. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I'm kind of lucky in that Aysha doesn't really hit people as an Arab name, even though it is like it's the wife of the prophet. But I didn't have it nearly as bad.
We don't
as,
actually read this shit, dude.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't have it as bad as like Mohammed's or like Hamid's or whatever.
Yeah, still, there was a lot of that. There has been this revisionism I've seen from people like Maddie Iglesias recently that have been like, oh, it wasn't like that bad. People talking about like Muslims having it bad back like right after 9/11 are crazy. Probably in response to like the Palestine, the voter base in Michigan.
So much.
Yeah, no, Maddie Iglesias is the worst. But like
the Michael Jordan of being wrong. Dude, I've told this exact story on the show and I'm going to tell it again. I don't care. I specifically explicitly remember being at Fred Meyer with my mom and the cashier was like, yeah, dude, we just got to glass the Middle East. And I'm like, I'm just trying to buy candy or whatever.
I know people who said that shit like 3 years ago. Old coworkers of mine said shit like that. And it's like people are fucking nuts when it comes to like people like Arabic people.
Yeah, I would have said the worst racism I ever experienced was during the Bush era until October 7th. I literally had to leave Twitter because I couldn't have a public profile there anymore. But I mean, you don't want to be on Twitter anyway. But
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that Nazi bar. But yeah, it's Yeah, people are very, I guess it's also just we didn't have social media back then, and I was like 12. So I wasn't seeing it in the way that I see it now. And because I'm a little bit more of a prominent, like every time we talk about Palestine on Workers Lit, we get emails like from Zionists.
Wow.
It's really
Jesus
wild.
Christ. Why listen to somebody that you know is going to say something that makes you mad? Like, I never get that about Zionists.
There is a thing about like Zionists, like they literally go looking for it.
They
like,
do.
Yeah, dude.
They revel in this,
Yeah.
like in this conflict, rubbing it in and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So goofy. Okay. Do we want to read the Gita's article first, or should we? I did bring, because we can't do the fanfic episode and not read at least one. I will read one, and it's not sexual. It is something that was written. I think it was dated like either that day or the day after. So it's just a kind of a time capsule.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's absolutely. We have to.
Okay, I'll read it. This is slide 15. This is, you guys remember Daria?
I do. Yeah. I love Daria.
This is a Daria fan fiction. I don't know if I put it, if I didn't, I will also include a slide of some of my favorite ones that I found. But I'm not going to read them, obviously, because I mean, also just to be clear, even if it wasn't like even necessarily pornographic, some of these things like there's the Baghdad Waltz that's going to come up in the article. I did read the entire thing, but it's the length of a fucking novel.
Yeah.
And we can't do that on here.
There is a lot. Like again, the people I knew that had written fan fiction wrote like a novel, like over 100 pages length.
Oh, yeah.
Worth of text and like stories.
Oh, yeah.
People get really fucking into it. They're really prolific. Yeah.
So
Long
I'll be.
As we call
Long
it.
fic, yeah.
Long fic.
I'll be a little candid that part of the reason I chose this one was brevity, So anyway, this is called Nightmare, a Daria fan fiction by Aaron Mills. And I don't know exactly what day, but this was like the week of. The link where this came from is in there. It's dated there, but it's close. Jane stared at the TV in shock. It was played over and over again, a nightmare come true. One of the towers, partially destroyed, a huge gaping hole in one side of it. Thick black clouds of smoke billowing from the wreckage. The bright orange flames clearly visible as remnants of those floors struck burned. And then the second nightmare. The airliner flying in at speeds too fast to turn. Jane found herself praying that there would be intervention, that the plane would veer off at the last second before the inevitable. But of course, there was no intervention. It had already happened. The second tower was struck and a massive fireball exploded through the building, orange and black clouds spewing from the corner of the building. Even though she knew it wasn't possible, she thought she could still feel the heat, feel the shockwave. But the nightmare wasn't over. Jane stared helplessly as the TV continued to play. The second tower was the first to go. It began to fall, the ordered structure vanishing in a cloud of smoke, dust, and rubble. Thousands of tons of steel, glass, and concrete falling to the ground, filling the streets, the people on the ground running for their lives. And just when you thought that was the worst that could possibly happen, the other tower collapsed. The upper section falling into the lower section. For a moment, Jane thought that the lower part of the tower might endure, but it was a false hope. The entire tower disintegrated. Another choking cloud of debris consuming the structure and those trapped inside it. Other reports came in. The Pentagon had been struck, a huge gaping hole in one of its 5 sides, a crashed plane in Pennsylvania. Hundreds of firefighters and police were lost in the destruction of the towers. The stories of those who had been in contact with the loved ones inside the buildings and on the planes before they were silenced forever. In the space of 45 minutes, America's worst nightmare had come true, and Jane could only stare in shock and disbelief. Thousands of people who were doing nothing more than going to work and to support their families became victims of fanaticism and hatred. And all they were doing was what they had done for years. Jane couldn't believe it. She'd always wanted to see the Twin Towers someday. Now she never could have that chance. Even if the towers were rebuilt, it wouldn't be the same. She heard a sound from the desk next to her. She looked over and saw the one thing that drove the horror of the situation home for her. Daria Morgendorfer was crying.
Dude, I was listening to you. I was not reading along till the end. I was like, I genuinely forgot this was a Daria fan fiction. I was like, what is the Daria
I was getting
of it all
into
here?
it. I was there. She was Aaron Mills was bringing me there.
Dude.
Yeah, and then I read the end. I was losing my shit. I was trying so hard to not laugh while you were still reading that. Oh my god, no, this is so good. Whoever, Aaron Mills,
shout out.
Thank you so much for this. This is a wonderful piece of work. Oh my god, it's so good. the last line 4 words, but it's so impactful because
Yeah.
it's real. That's so real. I don't know. It's so fucking funny because
It
she's
is
so
funny.
like deadpan. So
Yeah,
whatever.
if Daria was crying, it would freak me out.
It's real as fuck.
She finally cared. Okay. Let's do the Vice article. June, do you want to read that one since I did the thing.
Just final thought really quick about this piece that I had while you were reading is, and I think a lot of this stuff was happening, like it happened right after 9/11, tragedies early on, especially. We will always have a certain amount of people joking about it, especially these days with like the internet. But I think it's interesting, especially because the further we've gotten from 9/11, there is like this irony about all of it. We've all probably made 9/11 jokes. There is a level of like doing that because the way the U.S. government reacted and started wars in the Middle East and killed so many people globally, and the surveillance state was heavily increased. Like what came of 9/11 from the United States reaction is just so bad. So that's why a lot of jokes are made about it. But I think it's fascinating at a place 25 years beyond it to read something so very clearly in the moment, like a really genuine, I mean, it's fan fiction. It's kind of the last line's kind of funny, but it's like a real reaction to what had happened. It's really, it just
That was a
weird to
person
think
who
about.
had a real
Yeah.
a real human experience that used that, and they just was like, by the way, this is about Daria, and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing is like the Daria thing wasn't even really out of place. That's the thing, is like Daria cared, but like, I don't know. I completely agree with you, June. It's just very, very interesting. I don't know. Trunks couldn't stop it, and Daria cried. Like, that's what I'm taking from this.
Yeah, it's there is just something so like I will always make a 9/11 joke, but this Daria fan fiction is like, damn, bro.
I mean, this,
yeah.
I don't know, this feels more genuine to me than all of the Tim McGraw bullshit,
Yes.
like all the weird, like, jingoistic, like, saber rattling that happened. Like, this feels more genuine and, like, actually impactful than all of that shit.
That's okay. That's what it is. That's why I am fascinated and enthralled by all of these things we've looked at so far and read. That it is goofy. There's sort of a really cartoonish aspect to all of this. That it's like, okay, someone's writing this goofy fan fiction or whatever, but it's so genuine. It's so much more genuine than singing about God loves this country or whatever bullshit. That's what it is.
9/11 destroyed country music, basically. Like, that's one thing that you can say 9/11 did. Like bro country was created after that, basically. Or just only bro country existed after that. But that's a different episode completely.
Yeah,
also, though, it's interesting to think about, like, because, like, nowadays, like, when there is a tragedy and you get, like, on Blue Sky and you get on Twitter and you see everybody, like, posting, and you know that, like, a lot of it is performative. You're like,
exactly,
everyone has to act like during Black Lives Matter. Like, people were like literally there were like people policing who said Black Lives Matter and who didn't. And like, and if your brand didn't say Black Lives Matter, people would start tweeting at you and stuff. So I wonder, like, in the furry deviant art circles, were people like, oh, I gotta post my 9/11 art so people don't think I'm a terrorist?
They are going to SWAT my house if I don't write my 9/11 fic.
Yeah.
I have an expectation. They expect me to write a Daria fic every week, and they might come to my house if I don't do it about this. Yeah.
I'm not going to read it because we still have plenty of reading to do. But your guys' responses and this whole thing just reminds me of perhaps my favorite Onion article from way back in the day. It was the Bald Eagle tired of everybody assuming it supports war article.
Yeah, that's a good one. I love that one.
It's kind of spiritually in line with this. I think that everybody should read that because it's just like the perfect summation of like having nuanced thought in a time of not being able to express nuanced thoughts. Anyway, June, so the full article, guys, is linked in slide 6. if you're following at home. June, I have an abridged version linked as a Google Doc that's probably better for you to read if you want to just pull that up.
For sure. It's the one right above it. Yeah.
Yep.
So this is by Gita and Emily on Vice in 2021. How 9/11 became fanfiction canon. Okay. Every fictional character you can think of has experienced 9/11 in fanfiction. A Clone Wars veteran with 2 lightsabers is on United Airlines Flight 93 and prevents it from crashing. Ron and Hermione get caught up in the chaos as the towers fall. Buffy the Vampire Slayer and her friends watch the attacks unfold on TV from Sunnyvale. We have spent 20 years trying to process what happened on 9/11 and its fallout, and that messy process can be tracked through the countless sad, disturbing, and sometimes very funny fanfiction left across the internet. Many of the fan fictions written in the weeks and months following the 9/11 attacks seem to directly respond to the news as it happened, processing the tragedy in real time through the eyes of characters they loved. In the absence of a canon episode where Daria paid respects to those lost, writing fan fiction about those characters also experiencing trauma helped fans cope.
By the way, a surprising amount of Daria fan fiction back then. I forgot that show was had such staying power. It kind of disappeared.
Yeah. It was like
I never really.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, I never really watched Daria aside from a couple of clips, but most of my exposure from Daria was when she was just like a character in Beavis and Butthead, essentially.
Yeah.
That's all I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah, Daria was big for sad girls who hated everybody, so like me.
Yeah.
No, she is a perfect character. She's a perfect representation of what it meant to be like a millennial growing up and being like a teen and young adult, I think, in like the 2010s.
Yeah.
Perfect stand-in, yeah. All right, the article continues. One Yu-Gi-Oh! Fanfic published on fanfiction.net in May 2002 could have been ripped exactly from what this writer experienced that Tuesday morning. It started as a normal day. User Gachinka Renaman wrote, Yugi and his friends were in school where their teacher informed them of the attacks and sent everyone home from school.
In Japan.
Bro's got Exodia and he's nervous. Bro is scared and he's got the power of God. What are we doing here?
He's got the blue eyes white dragon.
And he's scared. Why is he scared? He should be using the power of the card.
The heart of the cards. Yeah.
Exactly. The fuck is Joey gonna come on? Yeah, this is so good. After reading people's 9/11 fics, I decided to write my own and put a certain character in it. And Yugi and his pals were my first choice. The author's note reads, explaining the connection they felt to United Flight 93 and the World Trade Center attacks. Given that they lived in Pennsylvania and it's close to New York, I felt really sad about it. Stitch, a fandom journalist for Teen Vogue, told Motherboard that this reaction to 9/11 is not at all uncommon in fandom. Fandom has always been a place that positions nothing as off limits, she says. Historical tragedies like the Titanic sinking and atrocities like all of World War II show up regularly across the past 30 years of people creating stories and art about the characters they love. So on some level, it makes sense that 9/11 and the following 20-year military installation in the Middle East has joined the ranks of things people in different fandoms turn into settings for their fan fiction. Experiencing 9/11 as a young teenager was overwhelming, not just because of the loss of life. Almost immediately after the event itself, it was as if the entirety of American culture reoriented itself towards an overtly jingoistic stance. As we get distance from the attacks, seeing the tone of television and movies from the early 2000s is jarring, and some have gone viral on Twitter. In the world of pop music, mainstream musicians like the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks, were blacklisted from the radio while Toby Keith sang about putting a boot up the ass of terrorists. On the Disney Channel, a young Shia LaBeouf reading a poem he supposedly wrote about the events. This poem This poem concludes with the line, "It's awesome to be an American citizen."
I think I remember the Shia LaBeouf poem.
I've seen, because you can find it on YouTube. I've seen people post that clip on from YouTube, like on Twitter and stuff before. It's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird to hear about this, to see this, because this was all around, but it's weird to think about because I didn't feel very traumatized by 9/11. And I think part of it was because I come from a Palestinian family. So to me, like, things like this just happen. Like, obviously, like, the scale of 9/11 was very, very large. But, like, I was very used to hearing about, like, suicide bombings, and, like, I knew my family had fled during the 6-Day War and stuff like that. And to me, it just kind of felt like business as usual. And I didn't really understand the scale of it because I was 12. But it, like, it took me a while to, like, I think that's why they sent me to the guidance counselor.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean, I think especially, like,
I just have to say, sorry, I looked further down the article and I saw Bin Laden / Dick Cheney enemies to lovers 10K words slow burn.
Yes. Oh, yes.
This is not a real thing. Somebody made that joke in a comment, but that really just, you know, that
It's a joke.
Hit me like a brick. But I'm sure it exists.
Yeah.
I've read plenty that is close enough that that's basically true. Yes.
Yeah. Has anybody written fan fiction about the Saddam hole?
Yes, yes, actually, and the one that I read that I don't fuck it. This one was years later, so like it's kind of like the Kirkification thing, where like you get a lot more raw, real human takes from like the early stuff, and then it becomes kind of mimetic or something. Yeah. I did see like one where pilots of one of the airplanes were like a bickering couple and like they shipped the pilot hijackers before they flew it into the building, which it was like, I have to say that one was probably the most high quality in terms of like writing that I've read in any of them. But
were you rooting for them by the end? You were like, yes, they finally kissed. As the
you know what?
hit.
Maybe I'll put that in my links of like my favorites, because I don't want to spoil it. But it made me laugh so hard I cried at the end.
Yeah. Does anybody fuck the Saddam Hussein hole? I have to see if anyone does that.
If anyone knows, please send us an email or put in the comments.
Don't write
somewhere.
your own. Only send us organic stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I only want vintage Saddam hole.
God damn. Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah, if you really, like, you can go through AO3 and find, like, the wildest tags that have been used multiple times. Like, my favorite, furniture coming alive and fucking people.
Yeah.
I've heard of stuff like that. Yeah. No, people get really creative. Honestly,
I wasn't
the
kidding
world of
when I
fan
talked
fiction
about
is...
the Titan submersible fucking somebody. I did read that one.
Yeah,
That one
yeah.
exists.
Yeah.
I just want to like meet these people. How do they think of this? What is their first thought? At what point in their day they're like, yes, it's time to write my fan fiction about the two towers having anal sex together. It's like, dude, where did that come from? You're a genius. Yeah.
Where the 9/11 hijackers like jacking each other off. That was the joke.
That
by the
is
way.
incredible.
It's just ridiculous.
Actually, like, that person's brain is so big.
Mutual masturbation as they head into the tower.
Yeah, me and my fellow hijacker saw you across the plane and we really liked your vibe.
But yeah, no, that is really the only thing, though, going back to that last bit in the article that I particularly remember. I was too young to really know what happened that day. But I think it was always off-putting to me, just like growing up as a child in America, seeing how jingoistic everything was. I think it was like that overcorrection that we did see like really early on that barely lasted any amount of time when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. You know, that like sort of like now that this bad thing, which I mean, let's be honest, there's this overcorrection to an event. And it is that overcorrection is incredibly off-putting to most people. And I think that's why I think in particular young millennials are so much more consistently leftist than even Zoomers in a lot of ways, because we sort of all grew up in this time where we saw American culture lean into this highly jingoistic sort of death cults. America has to kill everyone and that's sort of the culture of the time, and I think that is why there is so much of the backlash in millennial culture to, I think, anything right wing.
I think that's why right now feels so weird to me.
Yeah.
Because it really feels like a bunch of people trying to make 9/11 happen. Like they're trying to make fetch happen.
Yeah.
But they didn't, but like it feels so forced. They want an Iraq war. They want like a cultural reset like we had after 9/11, but they're just so inept and they're too horny for it that like it just was too much. And everybody was like, this is gross. We don't like this.
Yeah, because there was that aspect of a lot of people on the far right being like, now this is our chance to go in and arrest every leftist, put them in camps, do this, this, and that. And it's like, okay, an average person is not going to see that and think you're normal and agree with this.
They also just killed white people too fast, I think.
Yeah. All right, let's continue with this piece. In a world so completely saturated with this messaging, it is not surprising that fanfic authors started including 9/11 in their work so soon after the event. Even The West Wing had a strange, out-of-continuity, fanfic-esque episode where the characters reacted to 9/11. In some cases, it made sense that the characters in the stories would be close to or a part of the events themselves. For characters like John Watson or Captain America, the idea works to an extent, Stitch told Motherboard. In the original Sherlock Holmes works and the 2011 BBC series, Watson had just returned from Afghanistan. For Captain America and other Marvel heroes, 9/11 was something that was addressed in-universe in The Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2, number 36. Technically, 9/11 is canon to the Marvel universe. That's crazy. How could they have not stopped it? Were there no superheroes in 2001 that came after?
Have you seen the Spider-Verse movie? The Across the Spider-Verse, where they talk about canon events.
Yeah, I did watch that.
Maybe
yeah.
9/11 was a canon event. It had to happen.
It did. Okay, that tracks. Marvel, you think of it all. They always have a plan. In Early Warning Terrorism, a fanfiction for the TV show Early Edition, in which a man who mysteriously receives tomorrow's newspaper predicting the future avoids jingoism but tries to prevent 9/11 from happening. This fanfic remains unfinished. It's unclear if the characters successfully prevent 9/11 in this retelling.
Damn, I need to know how it ends.
Oh my god, the people waiting like 20 years for this show, they are probably miserable. Oh my god. Largely in fanfic from the era just after 9/11, when many young authors were trying to emotionally grapple with it, the characters don't rewrite or undo the events themselves. It's this emphasis on the reaction to tragedy that colors the fanfiction that features 9/11 going forward. Although fanfiction authors have been writing about 9/11 consistently since soon after the event, whenever that fanfiction reaches outside of its intended audience, it looks bizarre. A screenshot of a Naruto 9/11 fanfic on the Tumblr subreddit comes without any context or even more than 2 lines and an author's note. It's impossible to suss out if this falls into the category of sincere fanfic without the rest of the piece or publication date, but modern-day commentators on the Reddit thread see it as classic Tumblr trash. Naruto fanfic, screenshot from r/Tumblr.
Oh, sorry, that's not supposed to be in there.
Oh.
By the way, I can just tell you now, I probably wanted you to skip forward to where the ellipses is on this next page.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Based on the fact that wasn't removed. I must have just made that editing error.
No worries. I'll start right up here then. For me, 9/11 is synonymous with war. It completely changed the course of my life. Dreadnought, the author of the Captain America fanfic Baghdad Waltz. That's so good, dude. Baghdad Waltz, yes.
That's what I was talking about before, by the way, Baghdad Waltz. It is a novel-sized complete. I mean, it took the person to that. I believe he's a queer man who'd written that based on some of his own experiences in the military. And guys, not bad. I don't like Captain America. I don't like any of that shit. Did not expect it. I read the whole fucking thing. Not
Damn.
Bad. Just saying.
Recommended reading is coming with this episode. Baghdad Waltz. We'll have that in the comments. So Baghdad Waltz, it sees Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes fall in love over the course of the war on terror. Told Motherboard, it's the reason I joined the military and I developed deep connections with people who would go on to deploy to Afghanistan and Iraq. These very much felt like my generation's wars. Perhaps people because people I graduated high school with were the youngest folks eligible to serve at the time. Oh my God. So you read that all?
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Thank you for the work you do.
I am not going to add that one to my endly Goodreads list, I don't think. I'm on track, by the way, to hit 50 books this year, so hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That one counts, I assume.
I guess I'll have to pad the stats with Baghdad Waltz.
Dreadnought told Motherboard that although they didn't deploy, their career has kept 9/11 and the trauma behind it in their mind. After seeing the people who fantasize about Steve and Bucky getting together seemed particularly interested in reading fan fiction that related to 9/11, they decided to try their hand at it. I had to do something with all of that emotionally, and I'm admittedly a bit emotionally avoidant. So I learned through fanfic that it's easier for me to process those feelings and the knowledge of all the awful stuff that can happen in war if I can turn it into something creative. Dreadnought said, give the feelings to fake people and then have those fake people give the feelings to the readers.
That's art, baby.
Yeah. Shit. I feel like I could write. I'm going to write a novel after this. I've learned so much. 9/11 themed, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, obviously. To Dreadnought, who is a queer man, the experience of researching and writing this was more cathartic than they first expected, especially as a way to navigate feelings about masculinity, military culture, and queer identity. But they said that the research they did, which included watching footage of first responders at Ground Zero, was what helped them finally process the event themselves. It was like a delayed horror, and it was more powerful than I expected it to be, Dreadnought said. When I was 18, I was pretty emotionally divorced from 9/11. I just knew I wanted to do something about it. So coming back to it in my 30s while writing this fic, it was a very different experience. Even the research for this story ended up being an extraordinarily valuable exercise in cognitively and emotionally processing 9/11 and all of its second and third order effects.
Wow.
Fanfiction, yeah, that's actually so profound.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I guess I can't really like this. This sounds. I've read Metal Gear Solid fan fiction, so I mean, it's like can't really talk shit about Baghdad Waltz.
Okay. Yeah. That again. I don't know. Sorry, we. Continuing our spree of good luck with recording, we did have to stop for a second, so I don't know how that's going to shake out. But read the rest of the article; it's in the slideshow. We're going to move on because we got a couple of things we want to hit before this episode ends. One of the things that I thought was a real delight was you could use a good kiss. That is on slide 16 if you guys are interested.
Yes.
16 and 17. So you can use a good kiss was a fan fiction zine, like a physical printed zine.
No way.
That started back in the 90s.
Yeah, that's where fan fiction originally came from, was like on zines.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh my God. Yeah.
Like the Star Trek, the Kirk Spock shippers would make zines like in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know how people like Logan Paul has been doing this recently, which is like demonic, where he's like getting like high rated like versions of manga. I want a physical zine of like this any early fan fiction, like this one or the Spock and Kirk one. I'll take any. If anyone has a physical copy of this or at least knows where to find one, I would love to just I don't even want to own it. I just want to hold it and look at it.
I'm sure I know people who have old fanfic zines. I could probably find some.
I'm fascinated by the concept.
Yeah. So right up a few days before 9/11, she was the editor and main writer, Susan Zahn, had kind of posted this saying like, issue 3 is coming. We're having some issues. It's a lot of money to do. It's a lot of work to do, blah, 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 but it's coming. And then 9/11 happened. And she actually, the response to it, because it was a website too, but it was a physical scene with like a community online. The response that her fans had to 9/11 was so upsetting to her that she actually pulled the plug on the magazine entirely. She did finally release the 3rd issue, but it wasn't until 2016.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She took a while to process it.
Yeah, there's a whole story on fanlore.org, which has a wiki that's linked in there. But I'm going to read just a comment from one of the You Could Use a Good Kiss fans describing the whole situation, because it's just fucking crazy. Anyway, this is an anonymous fan. You Could Use a Good Kiss was a collection of Han and Leia fan fiction and art. It was a large collection at that. The first edition totaled 215 pages. As was to be expected, You Could Use a Good Kiss was incredibly popular. In fact, it sparked some of the more stupid Luke and Han fighting online, but even that wasn't the main problem. The real issue was that fans had a tendency to become obsessively dedicated to the point that they forgot the real world existed. You may not think that this sounds like such a bad thing, and to be partially right. So what's the problem? 9/11. 9/11 was the problem. No, seriously, fans were so obsessed with You Could Use a Good Kiss that they just kind of forgot to care about the actual important things, like the death of nearly 3,000 people. After the events of 9/11, fans of the zine responded in a rather bizarre way, and the creator Susan Zahn quickly realized that her readers literally could not conceptualize anything in the real world if it didn't have a relatable Star Wars equivalent. Rather than respond to 9/11 with horror and sympathy to all affected, fans instead focused on using the news as inspiration for angsty Leia fan fiction. Some people acted bizarrely grateful for the entire thing, posting happy comments about how they could finally push through their writer's block now that they had a real-life event to compare the destruction of Alderaan to. Pausing for a second.
Dude.
Like, that's what Star Wars is about. The first one was about the Vietnam War. Okay,
Yeah,
anyway.
I'm kind of like, okay, I understand how, like, if you were traumatized by 9/11, this could be irritating. Like, if your family member died in 9/11 or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This is just how people act. Like, this is how people process bad things. I don't know, like, what are they supposed to do about 9/11? Like, they're just kids writing fan fiction.
Like, Susan, Trunks couldn't stop 9/11. Your readers certainly can't. Anyway, the comic continues. Meanwhile, others continued to pester writers or artists for more and more content and updates with pleas for more fan fiction scattered between posts about, like, 9/11 didn't matter probably, and, like, when's the next release coming out? And, hey, doesn't America's new foreign policy totally mimic Star Wars? Wow, random politician is totally like Mon Mothma, Princess Leia / any other Star Wars politician, and so on.
Okay, the thing is, though, that's real as fuck.
That's just what the internet is now, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, this is like pre-Reddit, analog Reddit. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Of course, this horrified the zine's authors, who were disturbed by the fact that the readers are so dedicated to the zine that they could not even stop and think for 1 second about why writing 9/11 AUs would be a bad idea. Not to mention, some of the authors lived in areas directly impacted by the attacks, and instead of asking if they were okay, fans just begged them for more content. Keep in mind, too, this was immediately after the attacks happened, like the day of and the weeks afterwards. This wasn't a bunch of kids who heard about 9/11 stories in their parents' news. Hell, they weren't even kids. This was an adult zine. This was a group of people who saw the total.
Tacky.
Yeah.
Super tacky. Then anyway, we don't need to read the rest, but then they just kind of talk about how Susan Zahn, which I do believe is, if I'm correct, I don't know this, is a pen name named after Timothy Zahn, who wrote the Heir to the Empire trilogy of Star Wars. I think
Incredible.
Wow.
Amazing.
You're right.
I'm not wrong on that. There's no way. I don't know who Susan Zahn is, but I bet if I asked her, she's like, yeah, that's from Timothy Zahn. Which, what does that say about me that I clocked that immediately? Anyway, it goes on just to talk about how, and if you want to read the whole thing, it's fucking crazy. It has like receipts of like how insane people were being. It's very funny. It's in the screenshot. I just thought that we should probably include that in here. Okay.
Wait, so what are some of the responses? I actually want to read like one of them. I want to see like firsthand.
It's on the wiki, the fan lore wiki. It's linked in the slide. And you can actually see what it looked like if you're interested.
Okay. Oh, I see.
It's actually kind of like badass to look at the people were doing this back. I don't know. Like, it's not for me. Not everything has to be. You don't go to the grocery store and want to take home one of every item necessarily, right? But like, seeing this stuff existing is like just very interesting to me.
Yeah,
even though
good
it's
for
like,
them.
Yeah, dude, for sure. That's kind of how I feel about it. So if you're following along at home, the link is in slide 17 to that. I do want to switch gears here as we round home on this, to something to juxtapose this to something a little bit more modern. We probably won't read it. Miles Klee, back when he was writing for Mel Mag, did do an article about this. There was, and this is another book that I read. I'm not going to count this one. On slide 21, Kissing the Coronavirus was an erotic.
Let's go! I can't look at the slides because my internet just died, but that's
right.
That's incredible. I'm looking forward to looking at it when
It's so good. It's just like a large green man on the cover of kissing a woman.
And they gave him like the spikes or whatever the
sounds
protein had.
like a Chuck Tingle type book.
It's kind of Chuck
like
Tingle-esque.
pounded in the butt by the coronavirus or whatever.
Yeah. It's not far from that. I think that Mr. Edwards, MJ Edwards, did have a little bit of more. So, Chuck Tingle was very clearly goofing. And I think that MJ Edwards is too. But I think this.
Go on. Sorry.
Well, I think that this started as like a real thing.
This is so good. I need to read this little tagline here. It's so fucking funny. She was supposed to cure the coronavirus. Instead, she fell in love with it.
Hell yeah, brother. Let's go.
Hell yes.
I mean, it's kind of interesting that, like, because COVID affected all of our lives so much, but there's very little, like, media that talks about COVID or like took place during COVID. Like when I was working on Life is Strange Double Exposure, one of my big questions, one of the big like things people were asking when we were working on it was like, okay, did COVID happen in this universe? And the answer was no. Pretend it didn't happen. Yeah.
I have. I mean, especially after, like, further out from the fact, I think partially the reason is because it's become such a hot button issue, especially among conservatives, where it's like if you even mask as a personal choice, people on the right will, harass people that are masking. And it's sort of become this very conspiratorial thing. And it has somehow pushed people to become less want to vaccinate less and distrust science even more. So I think it's probably, I think it's stupid to like avoid stuff like that, but it is probably to avoid controversy because I assume people will get pissed off about it, which is just crazy that would piss people off to acknowledge something that happened in reality that we all went through together.
I'm trying to think of like any media that, like, all I can think of off the top of my head right now is Interview with the Vampire Show is set during COVID. And that's like all I can think of.
The only show I've watched that I can remember off the top of my head that has a COVID like mention and name drop is, or I guess it's not even explicit. It's sort of just a parallel, if I remember correctly. But the TV show there's sort of like an odd, like sort of out of place, I'll be honest, episode about like vaccinating. It was like it aired
so
right
funny.
After COVID.
An episode of You that is like a Saturday mornings special is so good. Actually, I love that.
Yeah, because the character Joe Goldberg, I think at one point, it's been a while since I've watched it, but I believe he thinks he has measles at one point, and then he's like talking to his neighbor, like he's a super chud neighbor, and the neighbor is like, yeah, I don't believe in that vaccine bullshit, and Joe Goldberg basically, if you've not watched the show, he is a serial killer who obsesses over women and is like really woke about it. He's like a woke serial killer.
It's a pretty good show.
And it's one of my guilty pleasures. I do love that show. It's sadly really fun. But he is like making fun of this anti-vax chud neighbor.
Woke serial killer. Oh, I guess like the Pit, but the Pit is a medical show, so like they would talk about COVID. But yeah, like the fact that there is like there is a lot of COVID fan fiction. I will say that. Like I've seen a lot of like, and then they had to quarantine together and there was only one bed fan fiction.
Yeah. Yeah. There's probably at this point, especially with how the right has sort of culturally dominated in regards to how masking and vaccines have been perceived. But I feel like COVID is probably just going to have a lot more acknowledgement in fan fiction than actual traditional media.
Yeah,
at
fan
this point.
fiction is very like lefty woke dominated. So
it is absolutely.
Yeah, we didn't get the Gita article does talk about that. I kind of mentioned that a little bit at the top. We skipped over it because we were, but if you're curious on some specifics there, it's definitely in that article.
Wait, can we read some of these reviews for this coronavirus book? You have some reviews listed here?
Yeah, I want to hear them. I can't see it. Read me some.
So this one here, this review says, just what? Like, so many words used here, and I'm pretty sure none were used properly, like immunity versus asymptomatic.
Oh my God.
Those are not the same thing. But yeah, this was a thing I will forever regret reading.
Brother.
1 star.
Brother, why did you buy the coronavirus book if you didn't want to read about fucking the coronavirus?
Getting mad at the coronavirus book fan fiction by because you misused immunity.
I had to include this one because it's my favorite line that could ever be included in a review. This is from Liz Schism, which the title is "What the Actual Expletive?" Because Liz doesn't swear; she's cool like that.
Oh yeah.
If I could give it 0 stars, I would. But I do hope you're able to pay the bills with this series. By the way, it is a series, and you can buy the entire series of 5 books for $8.
Oh my God!
Don't ask me why I know that.
You bought them all.
I did buy them all.
Did you read them all?
I did. I only read the first one, and it was about 15 pages, so not really that bad. I think that's too short to include in my end of the year list, but I do feel like I earned it more than most other books.
Also, I do want to just say I want to read this review too. It's called "What the Heck." Also doesn't swear, which is fun. Nope, not enjoyable. 16 pages with sorry, the typo is really funny to me. 16 pages.
Whiff of smut.
16. I'm trying my best. It's not even that funny. It's just, it's so okay.
This is so pissed that they fuck up the review.
Yeah, 16 pages with of smut with the virus. I honestly want to say this was done as a joke, a troll. However, part of me doesn't believe so.
I don't understand
Can't be too sure.
why all of these people bought this.
Yeah, they read it.
Like,
they read the whole thing.
Because
Yeah,
like
dude.
I feel like that the summary is not like it tells you exactly what it is. Like, I don't know, man. It seems like a
there's
dead
no
dove
false
do not eat
advertising
kind
here.
of dead dove do not eat sort of scenario.
Yeah.
So
there's a couple more 1-star reviews in here. I think, listen, I didn't include them. But if you want the real funny ones, anytime you ever want, okay, this is a hobby of mine. I've posted about this extensively. I haven't done it in a while. Back when I was on Twitter, I used to go, like, by posts, these ones would be pretty big, where I'd go to, like, Amazon and find something awful. Like, for instance, like canned rattlesnake meat or something. You know what I mean? Or, like, imitation crab. But you don't go, the 1 stars are funny because people are pissed. But the real treat is if you go find the 3-star ones, because those are the thoughtful people who will write paragraphs about like crab meat, canned crab meat, and how like, well, it was disappointing. It tastes like dog food, but it is inexpensive. You know what I mean? Like they make the best of it.
Yeah.
That's the 3-star reviews are the best.
I want to see
way
the 3-star
read
reviews of the COVID fucker book.
yeah, were there any 3-star reviews?
Yeah, they were. So the part of the reason I didn't include them is because they're all just like, well, it's obviously a joke, but I didn't have that bad of a time reading it. You know what I mean? So it was like kind of lame.
I still got off to it.
Shut up,
Yeah, dude, some
pussy.
people did imply that. Yes, people were jacking off to the COVID book.
I mean, like, good. I mean, at least COVID's good for something. I'm glad somebody got off.
Yeah, dude. I don't know how to say this. Oh God! Just check the sample chapters out. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I'm saying.
All right,
So
I
you
will.
read this, Caleb. So what's your read on like why does this story exist? Why do you think this person like? Let's assume it's not a joke. Let's assume somebody wrote this with real intent here. What is your read? Like, do you have any insight as to what this is about? Is this about like dealing with COVID and like the sort of trauma that came with like maybe lockdowns and like the collective societal trauma around COVID? Like,
Do you want my honest,
it?
like
Yeah,
my
please.
honest answer?
Yeah.
There was a brief time where we were all stuck inside. We had nothing but time, and we were forced to contemplate our own mortality. And what I took from this book is that was a person. Well, by the way, it was an extremely terminally horny time to be online. If people forget, people were just like posting whole people, whatever. Like it was crazy how like open. I don't know. It was just everyone went nuts. I think that this is I mean, it's supposed to be funny, right? It is supposed to be funny, but this is somebody trying to kind of deal with all of that instead of like staring down, because came out, as I recall, pretty fucking early in the whole thing, where it was still viewed as like an existential threat to humanity, or at least just it was like the closest thing to 9/11 that we'd seen. It was one of those things, just like a complete reset of how we viewed the world. And this is a person who's staring that in the face and saying, I will not be afraid, but I will jack off. And that's what this book is.
You know, that really makes you proud to be a human. It's the human spirit.
The intrepid nature of humans to always find ways to beat their shit wrong.
And that's really what fan fiction is all about.
Gun to my head, I'm still going for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will still jack my shit.
I will still do it, dude. I don't know. That's probably a good place to turn this one down.
Before we really wrap up here, though, like Caleb, so you said you came into this episode sort of like having one thought about fan fiction, and you came away with like a different perspective. What do you think, just like reading some of this stuff and sort of like getting a taste of what there is to offer, sort of like, so what would you say like really is your like changed perspective on some of this?
It's ironic because I went into this thinking that I was going to find a bunch of people like myself writing this stuff, and I found the opposite. However, what I also found was that whether it was the erotic stuff or not, what I saw was a mirror. I saw myself in virtually every tragedy that was written about, whether it was like COVID or whether it was like 9/11 or just war or whatever. There's so much new, like the thing that Aysha, you were saying a second ago is like kind of beautiful. Is like, well, we're joking because we're talking about jacking off, but like, it is beautiful that people will find ways to express themselves even when they are perhaps pushed to the margins of society. They have no other voice. They have no other vector to experience their grief. I think that a lot of these people that got into these communities don't have too many friends outside, and they found this place. You see the comments and the genuine warmth of the people that are involved in this stuff. It completely changed me. You know, I thought I was going to have an episode where we'd like hired voice actors to read some of the smut and we'd laugh at it. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with laughing at it, because you can appreciate the depth of something while still thinking it's funny, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't judge the person like drawing the Sonic foot porn, but I'm going to laugh at it because it is on its face absurd. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like not something that is really like, it's absurd for a reason, right?
It's interesting with fan fiction, like it hasn't gone through an editorial process and it hasn't passed through a publisher. So a lot of it is not good. But it is very raw and it's very honest. Like, this is like what people are actually feeling. Like, and it hasn't been polished up to be marketable, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
So like,
it's almost not marketable at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I write fan fiction very differently than I would write original fiction because it's for something else. So, like, it's a very different thing, and it serves a different need, and you're catering to a different audience. So, that's why I think what makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
That's real as fuck. Yeah, I mean, especially as we're, like, getting into an era of society that is sort of puritanical when it comes to, like, sex and like, explicit like, you know, sexuality, and like a lot of websites are gatekeeping, like the Tumblr. I mean, how can you forget about the Tumblr porn ban?
Yep.
That sort of completely reoriented the internet, and we're sort of in this like puritanical era, and fan fiction is sort of even though it's funny, sort of the only light of like weird smut and like very honest thoughts, very raw thoughts and conversations that I think you don't really get in other communities online or even in person a lot of the time.
Yeah, it really is just a bunch of like people writing porn for each other, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. Keep doing it. Keep it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to be derivative and kind of restate something I'd said when we were asked about this in the mailbag episode that we just recorded. But there's something about the medium and I guess the mask and the lack of editorial processes, as Aysha was saying just a second ago, that allows a level of honesty that you just don't see anywhere else. And I'm not even just talking about the erotic stuff. I'm talking about all of this. You know, it's just not. There's a level of realness to this that even if it's bad, it's just refreshingly candid. And that's was, I guess, my final takeaway from all that stuff. But a lot of it, I mean, most of it is frankly just atrociously dog shit bad, you know. So,
and I will always laugh at Sonic foot porn 9/11 like that. All of that's it's so good.
I think both things can be true, right? We're cultured, nuanced people. We can have it both ways.
And I'm so glad we live in a world with it all.
There's just like more and more like there's a very like quite a famous fantasy writer who you can just read her Witcher fan fiction on AO3. Like there are people who just, you know, are very open about it.
Yeah,
it's good practice,
so cool.
If nothing else, right?
Yep. I mean, it's a great way to build confidence because you'll have a gazillion nerds being like, this is the best thing I've ever read.
And especially when it comes to those really hyper specific interests or like ships, you know, people can find that content and writing really easily.
Also, whenever I see like these things that it's like, oh, petition to change the end of Game of Thrones, I'm like, just write fan fiction like an adult. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Put on your boots, pull up your bootstraps, and write some awful fanfic like the rest of us.
Yeah. Yep.
Aysha, where can our listeners find you? I've got your Blue Sky and your Workers Lit website linked in the slideshow here. Is there anything else you want to plug? Yeah,
so I am a video game writer. Well, I was until I got laid off, but I worked on a game called Life is Strange Double Exposure. If you want to check that out, I did a bunch of editing on the Pathologic 3, which is a survival horror game. And I also have another podcast called All My Maidens, which is an Elden Ring podcast. So check that out if you like Elden Ring.
I listened to your episode with Johnny. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the one where we mostly talked about eating ass.
I did listen to that in preparation for this. So
great.
I think like of all the smut I've consumed in preparation for this episode, like I'm going to become a Christian. I think I'm done.
You have to resist. This is exactly what This is what George W. Bush wanted. Don't fucking give in. Don't let his culture win.
I don't think that they would allow me. I don't know. It's gotta be welcome there. Aysha, what a pleasure. I'm sorry it took so long for us to finally do this, but I'm glad we did.
Yeah, me too.
Hopefully we can do something more in the future.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah.
This was so much fun.
Yeah, it was great. Anytime you guys want to come on, Workers Lit, or if you ever want to come on, if you're Elden Ring people, when I spin All My Maidens back up.
Dude, I'm not joking. Hit me up for that. I am so down.
Fuck yeah.
I am unfortunately a FromSoft lore freak. So
okay, good. Yes.
I will talk to you guys about being on Workers Lit soon.
Yes, please do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you
so
for
much.
being here, and everybody else. Thank you for listening. I know this one was a bit longer. We will see you next week, and take care.
Bye.
See ya.